My name's Daniel Goldstein with Develop Don't Destroy Brooklyn. These are opponents of the Atlantic Yards project standing behind us here. Besides some of the elected officials who are here to speak, we have, I'm not sure how many, but numerous city council candidates who have been clamoring to come speak at this event today, which is very different than 5 years ago when they were not clamoring. Everybody here wants good jobs created to help alleviate the unemployment crisis, and everybody here wants truly affordable housing constructed to help alleviate the housing crisis. Yes. Let us stipulate that in the end, those community members who support Atlantic Yards and those who oppose it are actually on the same page. The problem is, Ratner won't fulfill his promises, and he is fixated on his $800 million arena and his project, which is an unknown and the worst way to meet the needs of the people of Brooklyn that one can imagine.
It's time to put the proposed Atlantic Yards project out of its misery. Yes. The end is near. It's time to engage in smart and strategic development during these challenging economic times. Rising unemployment, overcrowded schools without science and math labs, arts and culture programs, a thing of the past, cuts to classrooms all in central Brooklyn, an aging and crumbling infrastructure, bridges and streets in a state of disrepair, a healthcare system in crisis, layoff of city workers, daycare centers closing, senior centers closing, public housing neglected, and homeless every night in a system bursting at its seams. Transit fare increases, cuts to maintenance, a crisis in affordable housing and supportive housing in a city which is increasingly becoming unaffordable to most New Yorkers. With all of these issues, with all of these concerns, can someone please tell me why we are still considering the public financing of an arena for a private company?
Outrageous.
Why are we offering another taxpayer bailout for a private billionaire? Why are we throwing out low-income residents and small businesses to the street so that a private company can benefit? Mr. Mayor, Mr. Bloomberg, who do you serve? One more time. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Bloomberg, Governor Patterson, who do you serve? Whose side are you on? Where are your priorities? Where is the transparency? Where is the accountability? Where is the oversight? Why have we allowed this private company to...
Right now, thank you for your courage in opposing the Atlantic Yards project. For the past 6 years, you have been courageously litigating, demonstrating, fighting, pointing out the inequities, the unfairness, the eminent domain abuse, the unending timeline of this project, and you have been condemned over and over again. And what has happened? You have only gotten stronger, right? You have only gotten stronger. The construction timetable for this project, the new deal between Ratner and the MTA, is now 22 years. 22 years of construction until 2031. And does anybody believe it'll be over in 2031? No! No, it's not even a credible proposal.
The developer's plan that was poised to repeat the mistakes of the past, raising that which exists and putting in parking lots while it develops a grandiose scheme for which it does not yet have financing, and which, due to time and changing market conditions, will not be built as proposed. Instead, the developer appears poised to create yet another parking lot full of empty promises. I was not looking to be prophetic. I was hoping that there would be change. In February of 2009, I asked, when is this project no longer this project? The answer is clear. This project hasn't been this project for a long time, and the impacts of the modified general project plan must be assessed for what they are. That's what this hearing is supposed to be about today.
Let me say this. I got an email 2 days ago for someone who's on the other side of the issue, and they actually said to me that I had been brainwashed by Triple DB. And my response to them was, no, one, I'm a critical and independent thinker, and number two, because I've lived in this community for 20 years, I know what's been going on. I actually lived...
Clear up the little confusion that just happened. Dan was introducing me as a candidate. I am here as a New Yorker and as a civil rights lawyer. I don't want this to become a partisan event. And I'm not here wearing my Norman Siegel for Public Advocate, and I'm not carrying a sign. In fact, someone had a sign and I told them to put it down. This issue is more important than any single candidate running for any single issue. But Dan, when you said I'm not running, oh, I am running. And it's important, but that's not what today is about. So let's clear that. I am here today to support, once again, DDB and all the people here. You should all give yourself a round of applause. This project never should have been approved to begin with. And today, especially, it should be rejected right away because of the economic situation. Many speakers before and some afterwards have touched upon a lot of the issues. I'm not going to repeat them. Let me focus in on the eminent domain issue. We have a federal constitution and a New York State constitution. I always marvel at people who walk around and talk about our constitution. I give a speech very often, the constitutional system. We should try it sometime. The constitutional system in the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution says very clearly that eminent domain is for one and only one purpose. The words are public use. Our state constitution similarly says eminent domain for public use. People have distorted and expanded what public use means, and this is a quintessential example of that distortion. People cite, including lawyers, Kelo versus New London for justification for this project. No way. 4-4, court split, and Anthony Kennedy comes in and writes a plurality. For everyone, including the Forest City Ratner lawyers and people, read it carefully. Because what Kennedy says, I only approve it. Because in looking at the process here, and I'll get that in a second, it is not developer-driven. This project is classic developer-driven. And the federal court should have focused in on that, and hopefully our New York State Court of Appeals will focus in on it at the end of October and say constitutionally Atlantic Yards is unconstitutional.